and welcome to Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. I'm your host, and on this show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be breaking down all of the day's movie news and going over what it means for the production in general, such as casting decisions, trailer announcements, director announcements, things like that. So without any further ado, let's get started with today's Hot Topics. And for this first story, writer-director Shane Black, the man who's responsible for such films as Iron Man 3, the Lethal Weapon series, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, has actually been brought on by Fox to both co-write and direct what was originally thought to be a reboot of Predator, the original one starring Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s. Which is kind of funny because there's a little bit of background with that project. Originally, Shane Black, because of the success of Lethal Weapon, they tried to get him to do some script rewrites on the original Predator. And he wouldn't have anything to do with it. They tried, he said no, they tried again, he said no, they tried again, he said no. So then eventually they said, well, we got this little role in the movie, and I believe it was Hawkins. And they said, why don't you come on down for a couple weeks? I think he was down there for 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks. And we'll shoot this little scene. He goes, yeah, for sure. So when he went down there, they go, hey, do you mind taking a look at the script and maybe punching it up a little bit? So he did get an uncredited minor rewrite on the original Predator, but they've now brought him in to do what he is calling, because he actually came out in an interview and stated that I'm not doing a reboot, I'm doing an inventive sequel. He's not a big fan of reboots or remakes. He doesn't like taking an idea that's already been done and just retooling it. He likes taking something that's already been established and moving on from it and going further, continuing on the storyline. So he said that his official quote actually was he wants to explore and expand the existing Predator mythology. Now, that being said, the one thing that he would be the right person to take the reins of something along the lines of an Alien versus Predator or something like that, like not necessarily a hybrid, but really expanding upon where this universe could go. I think that if he says that we're expanding on the mythology that's already been established, we are going to be getting a slightly different type of film, because we got, like, Predator 2 was essentially Predator, but it was in the steel jungle, it was in the city. And then Predators was almost a reboot of the original Predator set within the same world. It was a very similar storyline in the jungle, being hunted one by one, taken down. The thing that I did like about it was that all the people who were abducted and who were put into this scenario were hunters in their own regard. Some of them were mercenaries, you know, some of them were African kill squads and stuff like that. So with this one, I mean, it's, again, I said it before, he's the right guy to do this. I'm really a fan of the Predator franchise. The one thing, I would have been happier, I think, with a reboot than a continuation. Normally, I am a fan of continuing on the storylines. The only problem is the time frame that this would be associated with, because now these Predators would have been in existence, or at least known in certain sections of this world for the better part of like 30 years almost, at least by the time this film comes out. So that's just my only hesitation. I would have liked to seen them really grasp what the Predator mythology could be and start off from there, but until we get more information, because this is all we know, we just know that it's happening and he's continuing on from the existing storylines that have been already brought up. So that's all we know right now. We don't have an official release date or even production start time. We don't know the time frame of this film, but when we get more information about this, I will definitely update you guys on here. And for the next story that we have to talk about, this one I really wanted to talk about last week. This was going to be my my main, or not last week, the week before. This was going to be my main topic of the Friday episode. So, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes has released a final trailer. And I thought it was kind of weird that they were releasing a new trailer, because it was just like 3 weeks before this or something like that, or 3.5 weeks that they had released the second full trailer. But oh my god, watching this trailer, first off, you get a much better sense of the stakes that are happening. We know that Caesar has not fully removed his human compassion, the ability for him to really see the human side of things and to see how it affects both them as well as the apes, because Caesar was raised by humans. He wasn't raised by apes, so he has that fundamental feeling about them, and that's something that none of the other apes have. And so watching this, especially the ape, I believe the ape is called Kobo. It was the ape in Rise of the Planet of the Apes that was the original leader of that group, and then Caesar came in and beat the shit out of him and went from there. So he's kind of what looks to be, according to this trailer, he's more or less the second in command, or at least the person who's challenging, or most likely to challenge the leadership of that group. And you really get a sense of it, especially in the one line where he says, Caesar loves humans more than apes. Because we still don't know a lot of the specifics of the story, but it looks as though Caesar is going to be siding more so with the humans than with the apes in terms of trying to create this alliance. Or not necessarily an alliance, but a truce, so that neither party are affecting either one. But the level of emotion in Caesar's character, especially that one scene when he's watching the videotape of James Franco's character, and Jason Clarke goes, "Who is that?" And he goes, "A good man, just like you." You really get to see the multi-level performance that that Andy Serkis is bringing to the role of Caesar, and this is going to, I think, the argument always comes up that he should be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor or Best Lead Actor, but the problem always comes out of the fact that yes, it is his performance, but a lot of that is helped with special effects. Now, the argument has always been made that, well, that's the same with someone like you take Daniel Day-Lewis in the role of Lincoln. And he doesn't naturally look like that. There were makeup artists and hair artists and costume designers and all of these people who helped bring that character to life. But in essence, it was him who unleashed the character, who brought that character out, who created all the little nuances. And so that argument, I think, is always going to happen with roles like this, with characters like Caesar, like Kong, like Gollum, you know, like all these motion captured performances that people are feeling that these people need to be recognized for these amazing performances. And it just doesn't look like that is going to happen, but it will happen most likely in the future. I hope they don't bring out another category for it. I hope they start to realize that, listen, it's as much of a performance as it is anyone else just under heavy makeup. So, I mean, that's kind of where it's going, but you do get a better sense of the storyline in general. You get to see more layered performances out of people like Gary Oldman, because Gary Oldman has always come out and said that his character, I mean, with most villains, they always think that they are the good guy. They think they're doing everything for the right reasons, and his character seems borderline. Now, I know that the film is going to be very different than this because early word has come out and it's very good, but he seems very mustache twirly villain, like, I'm going to get you, apes. Like, that's what I'm getting from his role in the film, and the early word is that this is much better than Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which is, that in itself is an achievement, because Rise of the Planet of the Apes was one of the biggest surprises of that summer. It came out of nowhere in terms of the quality of the film. No one really thought that it was going to do very well. But then people started to hear things about it, like, oh, okay, this is going in a new type of direction. This is a new type of film. And they just said nothing but amazing things about about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. We already know that Matt Reeves, the director of this film, is already secured for a third Apes movie, as well as Andy Serkis. We'll have to wait and see any other cast members if they survive this one and sort of what the storyline is, but we know that we are getting a Planet of the Apes. I think that's actually the working title, is just Planet of the Apes. So, I mean, when we get more information about this movie, though, I will definitely update you guys on here. But as it stands right now, this movie is one to look out for because it's getting amazing word of mouth. So check back on here. All right, and the next topic we have to talk about is, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago with a featurette that came out showing select footage from Brad Pitt's upcoming World War II tank film, Fury. The movie's directed by... oh, I can't believe I am drawing a blank. He's the director, David Ayer. He is the writer-director of End of Watch. He also wrote movies like Training Day. This is his next... He also just did the last Arnold Schwarzenegger film, Sabotage, which I still have not seen yet. A lot of people went and saw it, and they said that it wasn't very good, but, I mean, a lot of the films that David Ayer has made, and people have said they're not that good, I've actually quite enjoyed them, at least for what they are. So, this film... It's a complete departure from his normal style. First off, it's a World War II film. He's never really delved into that. It's a movie about tanks, which he's never really delved into this type of territory. He's always been into, because I think he used to be a cop, he's always been into corrupt cops, and that's always been his niche. That's always been his area that he works really well in. Excuse me. But with this film, there's a couple of big stated things. The one thing that I stated on when we discussed the featurette was, they came out and said there's no handheld. We're doing all dolly shots, all crane shots, all handy cam, or not handy cam, steady cam shots. And you can really see that in this film. You can see everything. It's not shaky. It's not, you know, like you're having a seizure. It is all very smooth. It is beautiful to look at. The cinematography looks great. I was actually very reminded of Saving Private Ryan in the tone of what we're getting. We're getting a more character-driven World War II film that is going to have big action sequences in it, but the heart of this film is going to be the characters. So the basic storyline is Brad Pitt commands a tank, just this one 5-man tank or 5-unit tank. The other people in the tank are Shia LaBeouf, Michael Pena, John Bernthal, and Logan Lerman. Logan Lerman is the newest member of this tank group. That's how the trailer actually starts off. Logan Lerman's going to be the audience's viewpoint for this film because he's new to the group. He's never driven a tank. He's new to the war, and you can even see in the trailer that he is the naive individual in the war. When people have been in the war for a while, you are desensitized to a lot of things. Most importantly, killing people. They're not fully, but more so. You understand the reasoning why you have to do it. Logan Lerman's character does not have that. And you can see in this movie when he is being ordered to shoot a man who is going to kill them, he hesitates. He does not want, every fiber in his body is making it so that he cannot shoot. He cannot pull that trigger. And that is going to be a major conflict in this film. And that's one thing that I really admire about this movie. Because we don't usually get that. A lot of movies tend to glorify war. And they don't really showcase that war is hell. I think Saving Private Ryan was one of the first films to actually showcase that. This is not glamorous. This is not a place that action heroes are able to sprout one-liners, chomping on a cigar, and, you know, doing all that stuff. They can't. It's war. You will get killed. Like, you will be dead. Millions of people will die. And that is something, I think, a very serious tone that this film is really going to drive home. And I really, really admire that about this movie, because it could have just been a big, epic tank battle, which I think we're going to get. But this looks so layered, and Brad Pitt just seems so at home in World War II. I mean, look at his fun turn in Inglourious Basterds. Now he's doing this, and he's got another World War II movie lined up to start shooting, I think, either early next year or the end of this year. But yeah, like, I could not have been happier with it. But by the way, anyone who wants to check out, if they have not seen either the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes trailer or the Fury trailer, I will have links in the description of the video below. But yeah, this, like, it just looks insane. The fact that it's going to be a very 300 style thing, where it's these 5 guys in one tank trying to stop a battalion of 300 men. Like, I'm excited for this movie. It comes out in November, I believe November 14th, just after Remembrance Day. So when we get more information about this movie, I will definitely update you guys on here. Alright, and the next topic we have to talk about, this one really surprised me as well, because I didn't think that a gentleman of this caliber would really want to be a part of a franchise like this. But Frank Darabont, the guy who is responsible for The Shawshank Redemption, arguably one of the absolute best films ever made. He also did The Green Mile. He was the original executive producer and showrunner of The Walking Dead. He has been brought on to direct The Huntsman, which is a spin-off / sequel of Snow White and the Huntsman. It's going to focus on Chris Hemsworth's character. Rumors have it that Charlize Theron's character is going to come back, which I don't know how they're going to do that. But it looks very likely that Kristen Stewart is not going to be a part of this film. And if she is, it's just going to be a cameo. Very, very, very small appearance. But as it stands right now, it's going to be directly about the Huntsman. And they announced that pretty much right when the movie first hit. They said, we're going to be moving forward with the sequel. It's going to focus on the Huntsman. Because, I mean, Chris Hemsworth is a bona fide movie star. I mean, you're going to get more people to go and see the film because he's likable. But we have no plot details whatsoever. We do not know what this movie's about. We don't even have a time frame as to when this movie's going to be coming out or anything of that sort. But it is very interesting that a man of Frank Darabont's credibility is going to be involved in this film. That means that we're probably going to get something unique with the Huntsman. I'm a major fan of The Mist. I know a lot of people out there who did not like The Mist. And I can see why. There are certain things about it that I can see that would put people off. But, I mean, just as a character study, that movie is fantastic. The special effects in it are great as well. And the tension and horror about the situation are really done very well. So, that the atmosphere and mood that he was able to create in that, I think he can bring to the Huntsman and just punch up the action. But I think we're going to get a very character-driven story with this if Darabont's involved. As far as I know, right now, he is only in line to direct it, but he's probably going to punch up the script if there is already one. If not, he's probably going to lobby to direct it. But as it stands right now, that's what we know about the Huntsman. If we get more information about it, though, I will definitely update you guys on here. And this last topic that we have to talk about today is a major, gigantic spoiler for the upcoming Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. If you do not want to know anything else about the film that we've already discussed, then please, you can stop watching the video right now. Click on the subscribe button if you did like the video. But yeah, as it stands right now, this is a major spoiler. It is not 100% confirmed, but judging by the photos, this looks very legitimate. So again, if you don't want to know anything more about Batman vs. Superman, you can stop watching the video as it stands right now. But if you want to hear about this, I decided to share it on here. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I figured this is such a big piece of news that I will talk about it. Okay, so here we go, full spoilers. So about a month ago or so, images came online showcasing a massive statue that was being built for Superman. It was Superman in a pose. I believe it was about 25 feet tall, maybe 20 feet tall, maybe even taller. But it was we didn't know exactly what it was being built for and why it was being constructed for the film. Well, some photos came out over the weekend that maybe shed some light on that. And the photos showcase that the statue has been completely destroyed. It is in a bunch of pieces. There's green screen all around it, but you see large groups of people in pretty much all black or in sort of very dress or formal wear. They're all holding flowers. There are military individuals as well as politicians in the same area. They are all standing around the statue. They are all holding flowers. It looks as though we are going to be getting the Death of Superman storyline, and Superman will most likely die in Batman v Superman. Now again, this is all judging just based on what these photos said. This comes from El Mayimbe at Latino Review. But yeah, it looks as though we are going to be getting the Death of Superman. If that is true, then that means that the other villain in the film is going to be Doomsday. I personally hope that this isn't true. I hope that it could also be that someone else died at that spot. We don't know. We just do not know. Why else would they be around the Superman statue is another story. Either Superman is dead or somebody died right there, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Superman died. So if Doomsday is going to be in this movie, that most likely means that the death of Superman is going to be leading into Justice League, which most likely means that Doomsday is going to be leading into Justice League. If that's the case, then I'm okay with it. But if Doomsday, because in the storyline, Doomsday is the one who kills him. And if that is the case, and Batman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman, because we know that all these guys are in the film, if they all team up to destroy Doomsday, and they find through that they can come together, and that leads into Justice League, that to me is going to, because that means that who are they going to get for Justice League? That means it's probably going to be someone like Darkseid. And if they do, if they do Doomsday in Batman v Superman and then Darkseid in Justice League, there is no one else really for them to use. Those are the two most powerful villains that Superman has. Of course, there's people like Brainiac, you know, and Bizarro and Mr. Missile Pictolic, or I can't remember exactly how to pronounce his name. There are other villains out there, yes, but Justice League level villains, there's not a lot. There's not a lot that would cause, like, Darkseid is the ultimate villain. If they do Darkseid in Justice League, they've quote unquote blown their load too soon, and that is not personally, I feel that's not a great decision, because it doesn't leave them with a lot of avenues to go down. It's the same reason why in the Avengers they didn't have Thanos as the villain in the first one, or even in the second one. They were building up to him. If they do that in Justice League, then that would be really cool, using all the individual movies to lay the threads, very similar to how Marvel has done with the Avengers films. But as it stands right now, it looks very likely that Superman is dead near the end or at the end of Batman v Superman. And if they're filming these movies back to back, Batman v Superman could end on a cliffhanger. A lot of people haven't even talked about that it could end on a cliffhanger, very similar to like, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, or Matrix Reloaded going into Matrix Revolutions, you know, or Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit. Any of these movies that end on a cliffhanger, they could do it. I mean, Hunger Games just did it last year, and the second or the third movie is not even coming out until November, and then that's only part 1. Part 2 is going to be out November of next year. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like we're getting Death of Superman, and then that's going to be leading into Superman Lives in the next one. So, look out for Doomsday, or look out for whoever they're going to cast as Doomsday, because it looks like this is actually going to be happening. It's going to make some amazing action scenes, don't get me wrong. I'm excited to see Doomsday on screen. I was hoping that we would have waited a little bit to get Doomsday in there, because there's a couple other characters they could mine. We've already got Zod's gone, so then that brings in Doomsday. And if they go Darkseid, there's the trifecta, the 3 big ones. You got Brainiac left, but he's a big computer program. So yeah, I mean, Batman vs Superman is still scheduled to come out on May 6th, 2016. Still is lining up to, or May 5th, 2016. I may be getting those dates wrong. But it's still lined up to go against Captain America. Rumors are circling that Star Wars may be moving to that date. So that would be the biggest opening weekend in cinema history. I don't think you'd have to order your tickets 2 to 3 weeks in advance. But yeah, when we get more information about this, or if this actually does get solidified, then I will definitely update you guys on here. But as it stands right now, this is just rumor. Again, it is not anything concrete. Warner Brothers has not sent, or Warner Brothers has not sent out anything. Zack Snyder has not come out and stated whether or not this is actually happening. We still don't know anything official, but as it stands right now, this looks very legitimate. But when we get more information about this, I will definitely update you guys on here. Well, that'll about do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a great audience. Don't forget to click subscribe there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever I post a new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all of your updates on movie information. And also don't forget to check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/movienewswithniklsun. Well, like I said earlier, this has been Niklsun. You guys have been a great audience, and don't forget to enjoy the rest of your day. You take care.